Dear students, Your Excellency, the President of Moldova, good afternoon. It's a great honor to welcome you to MBway. My name is Maia, and I'm the manager of MBway Bordeaux. I would like to thank you, Madam President, for accepting our invitation to speak to our students. We believe that future leaders should be aware and engaged in an international context. Therefore, our management school is dedicated to train and prepare its students for a fast-changing environment. Before talking about Moldova's European project, I would like to invite Mr. Mehdi, the director of MBway Schools, for a welcoming speech.
Thank you, Anna. Ladies and gentlemen, dear students and distinguished guests, Mrs. President, on behalf of MBway School of Management and Business, I'm extremely delighted to welcome Her Excellency Mrs. Maia Sandu, President of the Republic of Moldova, for this conference about the future of Europe and what vision we want for our old continent. The European Union is once again at the crossroad. The recent events are shaking our continent to its core. In this context, this conference will also be the opportunity for our students to discuss how Moldova envisions its future in Europe and what the Moldovan citizens aspire to regarding joining the European Union. Before giving the floor to Your Excellency, I would like also to give my thanks and regards to Anna Mousnier, Dean of the MBway Bordeaux campus, without whom this conference could not have been possible. Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Gelali. Madam President, we all know that May is when we celebrate Europe, and our focus is on Moldova because of its status in EU candidate since June 2022. We would like to use this opportunity to get a glimpse of what the European project means for Moldova. Being a European citizen, it's a great opportunity for today's younger generations who enjoy many privileges that they are not necessarily aware of, like freedom of movement, student mobility. This brings me to my first question. What does being European mean for Moldovans? The European Union has always been seen as a project of peace and stability for the European continent. These aspirations have attracted more and more countries to join it. The EU now has 27 member states and welcomes any other European country willing to join and ready to promote peace, democracy, stability, and prosperity. Yet, the aspiration to integrate and actually doing it is not an easy process. And here's my second question. What are the reasons for Moldova to join the European Union? Latest geopolitical developments and the achievements performed by the Moldovan government in terms of law, corruption, and freedom of press made Moldova's integration into the European Union a certain outcome. Here comes my last question. What would Moldova bring to the European Union? I will now turn the floor over to you, Madam President.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for your invitation and for the opportunity to speak about my country, about the Republic of Moldova, and also to answer some of the questions you might have about my country. You have started to answer the first question, why EU? And I just want to say that we have been trying for 30 years now, for more than 3 decades, to build democracy in Moldova. And that has been a pretty long process. And even though the democracy in Moldova is still fragile, we value it and we work hard on consolidating the democratic processes and the democratic institutions. And sometimes we had to spend a lot of time on the streets protesting against the government, against regimes that were trying to become authoritarian. And I am actually proud of the Republic of Moldova that people here have not allowed any regimes to become authoritarian and to settle in. We have managed to change power through peaceful elections all the time. And we want to continue on this road. We want to have a state which values and respects the life of every citizen. We want to have a state which provides for human rights and for economic opportunities for everyone. So we've been looking at what EU means and how it treats its citizens, and that's what we want to build here. I actually have the experience of the transition because I was a fresh graduate when Moldova regained or became independent, and we were building a state from scratch. In 1994, I joined, after I graduated from the university, I joined the Ministry of Economy, and it was an interesting learning exercise for me, but also disappointing in some respect, because at the beginning of the independence, we had the hope that Moldova would become quickly a democratic country, and then we'll have higher living standards, and the economic development will help us build the country that we want. Unfortunately, it took a long time, and unfortunately, Moldova is still struggling and trying to become a consolidated democracy. And given the current situation, the war that Russia started against Ukraine, we see the risks to our democracy even bigger. I do believe that we can secure our democratic way of development only being part of EU. So it's a pretty dramatic way of seeing things, but we do believe that the geopolitical situation in our part of the world will continue to be difficult. Of course, we believe that Ukraine will recover its territories, but we do also believe that Russia will continue to create problems for our region and to pose risks to our democracy. So we believe in democracy, we value it, we've been fighting for democracy, we are working hard now in the government and in the presidency, in the parliament, to consolidate the democratic processes and institutions. But Moldova is too small to fight alone for its democracy, and the EU would provide the umbrella which could help us save our democratic development. So this is why EU, it's been an important project for us even before the war has started. This war has made things black and white. It's clear to us that EU is the world that we want to live in, and what Russia represents today, the aggression, the war, the authoritarian regime, is something that we don't want to experience anymore. I mean, of course, we've experienced a very short war when the country became independent, but then we also experienced what an authoritarian regime means during the Soviet times. So that's why EU, of course, we have to work hard on that, and we're working and we're very committed. The biggest reform that we have to implement is the justice sector reform, because corruption has been an issue, a very big issue for my country for many years. I actually established a party together with my colleagues because we didn't want to live in a country run by corrupt politicians, and we wanted to prove to people that you can have honest politicians, and we had to start from scratch. We established a political party. We started to talk about the legal and transparent financing of the political party, because if you have corruption in politics, then later on this corruption gets translated into state corruption. So we had to convince people, to teach people that in order to have honest politicians and transparently and legally financed political parties, they need to make donations. Initially, people were upset to learn that they need to make donations, but then later on, people realized that this is the only way to have clean politics. And we had to go through difficult times to get here, but we proved to people that you can have honest politicians, and this is what democracy is about. Democracy is not about corrupt groups trying to get to power by buying votes or by buying half of the media in the country and then manipulate the people with this dirty money. So we still work hard on reforming justice, on strengthening the capacity of our anti-corruption institutions, but we are very determined, as I said, and we have the popular support necessary to advance on our EU path. We also very lucky to see openness on the part of the EU member states these days, and as a proof, we received the EU candidate status last year, and we're very happy. And we hope to be able to continue to move on this path together with Ukraine, of course. And we owe to Ukraine a lot because we feel safer today, thanks to the Ukrainian resistance, thanks to the courage of the Ukrainian people and of the Ukrainian leadership. What Moldova can bring to EU, first of all, I believe that all the countries which believe in democracy should stay together and should be supported. The democracies should support each other because we do see authoritarian regimes trying to change the course of the world. Second, Moldovans have proved many times that we share the EU values. Just to bring an example, since the war has started, we have witnessed more than 1 million Ukrainian refugees passing through our territory. And just to give the context, Moldova has a population of 2.6 million people. We are sheltering today 80,000 Ukrainian refugees who have been here with us for more than a year now. But during this time, since the war has started, as I said, we provided shelter to hundreds of thousands of people. Some of them would stay for several weeks, some of them would stay for several months. And we have managed to provide such support thanks to the Moldovan population. The state has done a lot, but the state would have not been able to shelter so many people. It was the Moldovans who went to the border points and who were inviting unknown people, people coming from Ukraine to go to their houses, and then they help them, and they continue to help. So I believe solidarity is one of the EU values, and we just proved that we are Europeans. And then, of course, we speak a European language. We are part of Europe. We do feel very much Europeans, and actually around 1 million Moldovan citizens are also EU citizens because they have the EU citizenship. I'll stop here, of course, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Let's move on to questions from the students. I leave the floor to Michael Kane, who has 3 questions from our students.
Thank you, Madam President, for your insight on this crucial topic. We look forward to hearing more about Moldova's effort to promote entrepreneurship, cultural exchange, and educational opportunities for our students. The first question from Melanie: how does Moldova encourage entrepreneurship among young people, particularly in the context of integration into the European Union? The second one? Okay. As you want.
Sorry, shall I answer the question, or shall we collect several of them?
No,
I'll answer the question, okay. Well, indeed, many young and creative Moldovans have left the country, and we feel it every day. We feel it in the public sector when we want to hire more wise and energetic people to help us undertake the reforms. We feel it in the private sector. And we very much hope that at some point we will be able to convince at least part of our diaspora to come back to Moldova when 1/3 of our population is abroad. But there is no one miraculous policy that can change that. We understand that we have to improve the living conditions in general for people to come back. And of course, security is a big issue, especially since the war has started. So we have many things to do before we'll manage to convince more people to come back. Though I have to say that even in my team, I have many people who return from the diaspora. We are very interested in developing the business environment because we understand that the economic development is the solution to many problems, and many people left because they didn't have economic opportunities at home. So we have an aggressive approach now of improving the business environment. This is very important to make sure that the regulations are not excessive, to make sure that the civil servants who work in the regulatory agencies understand the value of the business and understand that the more successful businesses the country will have, the better for the country. So this is like a wide reform across the border. And we are we have programs to support the young entrepreneurs. We have just reformed the state institutions which provide such support. We have managed to increase significantly the amounts of assistance that we provide. So this is sometimes these are grants, small grants for those who are initiating a business. Sometimes this is compensating for the pretty high interest rate because we're all facing inflation. Moldova faced a significant inflation last year. So this has increased the interest rates for the bank resources. So the state is trying to help some of the entrepreneurs to compensate for this increased expenses. So, and then of course now we're trying to encourage investment in green energy. This is another important work for the government, that we're trying to diversify and at the same time to invest in the green energy, which is faced a significant energy crisis, which is forcing us into a speedy reform process. So that's what's happening right now. These improvements, both in terms of the regulatory environment, improving the business environment, but also providing more efficiently and more targeted support to the young people. So if there are Moldovans listening to this, I would encourage them to check on these opportunities and to try them. I've been meeting young entrepreneurs across the country, and they do tell me about their successes, including people coming back from diaspora who have learned how to do business in France or in Spain or in Great Britain, and now they're coming back with this experience.
Thank you. That's the second question from Thomas. How does Moldova promote cultural and linguistic exchanges between Moldovan and French students?
Well, first of all, there are many Moldovan students and pupils who learn French. Of course, there is also an important share of young people who now study English. You know that we're coming from a past where most of us studied French. I have to say I also studied French in the high school, but I didn't experience, I didn't use the language for a long time, so I would not risk into entering a discussion now with you in French, but many Moldovans studied French. So now we have, and we do have support programs for some of the schools and for some of the universities. And we have been working more closely these last 2 years with French authorities, including with the presidency, with President Macron, talking about these issues, and we're very grateful for the support. And there is also very good cooperation at the level of universities. So we're paying more attention these days, thanks to our excellent relationship with France on the specific issue, and we'll continue to work on that. And of course, you are very welcome to come to Moldova and see the country, and then help us with these programs, French language programs.
Thank you. The last question from Xavier is, what are the opportunities for French students to continue their studies in Moldova, and how can Moldova help them integrate into Moldova education system?
We do have universities where the programs are in French, so you can study in French. There are not many of them, but there are a few of them. So this would be one avenue to explore. We are trying to improve the quality of our higher education. I'm a former Minister of Education, and we have started some of the reforms a couple of years ago when I was dealing with the education, and now there is a new reform of the higher education system, because we understand that we need to become competitive. We very much believe in this cooperation between universities, among universities, and we're encouraging the Moldovan universities to cooperate with universities, especially in the EU, not only, but especially in the EU, because we want to get closer to this space. And I think this is the way to go. We know that many Moldovans have been studying in France and in French, and we're very grateful for that. As I said, some of these people are coming back, some of them stay there and contribute to the public good. So education is very important. Cultural exchanges are very important. Educational exchanges are very important. You might know that on June 1st, Moldova is going to host the meeting of the European political community, again, an idea launched by President Macron. And one of the issues that we want to discuss is the exchanges, student exchanges on the continent, beyond the EU, because this European political community is about all the countries except for Russia. So we are going to raise this issue and see how we can have more programs for student exchanges on the continent.
Thank you, Madam President. Anna?
Your Excellency, thank you, taking the time to speak to our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was really a pleasure to have the chance to share our ideas and to speak a little bit about the problems, and especially about our aspirations. And as I said, we strongly believe in democracy. We want to stay part of the free world. This is the main objective, and we're going to work hard, but we do need help and we do need support, and we're very grateful for the support. And we're very grateful for the support we receive from the French authorities these days in many areas. We're really very lucky to have such friends. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best and good luck with your plans. And please do come to Moldova.
Thanks, Mrs. President. I hope next time we will see you on our campus in Bordeaux.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I've been once to Bordeaux. I know what a nice place it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Vă mulțumesc foarte mult, doamna Sandu.
Merci Anna pour l'organisation de cette conférence et merci aux 174 participants.
168, je vois.
Mais tout à l'heure, on était à 174. parce qu'ils ont commencé à se déconnecter. Donc, merci à tous ceux qui ont assisté à cette conférence. Et encore une fois, Anna, bravo.
Merci à vous tous connectés. Merci encore. Et puis la prochaine fois en présentiel.
Bon après-midi à toutes et à tous.